this introduction to the new Nordic Proficiency Awards. This presentation will take about 20 minutes and it will run through the mission and vision for the awards, a little bit more about what the awards look like and how they work, their structure, then on to how to get involved with the awards, finishing up with some next steps on where we're going, what work we're doing, how we're currently progressing them. Very keen to get some feedback on these. We're sharing our current thinking of how the awards are going to work at present, but the scheme is very new and we want to make sure that it meets the community's needs. So the mission for the Nordic Proficiency Awards really came out of some current club needs and also the anticipated needs of the new hubs, which is one of the strategic aims for Snowsport Scotland, to create 3 new hubs by 2022. The mission is, in Scotland, we are going to have an engaging, visible and recorded progression for participants in cross-country skiing. There will be recognised skill standards and achievements that can be celebrated. The awards will act as a framework, creating clear structure for participants and their coaches. So to pick up on some of those capitalised and in bold words, we want the awards to be really engaging. Cross-country skiing in Scotland has a great community. It has a lot of spirit, and we want to make sure that the awards capture that fun and get people involved in that community as quickly as possible. We want them to provide some visibility to our sport so that people outside of our sport can have a better understanding of the progression within the sport, and those starting in cross-country skiing can visualize their journey of where they're going to go by taking part. We also want it to record, so a degree of tracking our participation and seeing what level people involved in cross-country skiing in Scotland are at, and also to help recognize their progression achievements and the milestones that they're reaching in their skiing, hopefully to create motivation and to keep people involved. One of the biggest things about the awards for me is the standards. We haven't got at the moment a national standardization or way of talking about the skill level that different participants are at. Where we really see this as being important is with actually with the Foundation Coaching Award. A lot of people don't see themselves as coaches, or that they worry about their own ski proficiency being at a high enough level to get involved with encouraging others, and hopefully having the standard that's required set out in a way where it's very clear and people can tick off their competencies. It will generate sort of confidence in their own ability to get involved with that. Finally, framework and structure. With the new hubs, we're moving into areas where we will have less experienced coaches out there on their own, and hopefully the awards will provide framework and structure to support those coaches in providing good quality coaching and support to others. Okay, so the vision is more about what is Scottish skiing, cross-country skiing going to look like when we have the Proficiency Awards in place. So the first thing is we're going to have this alternative route to the performance pathway, which is mastery focused and gives the individual an opportunity to maintain engagement with clubs and facilities, even if they aren't that interested in progressing their skiing through competition. And this is largely going to be achieved by the awards being quite extensive. They have 9 levels, and the top level is a very proficient skier, someone who's a very competent skier. We're also going to have all ages skiing together. The awards are not just for kids. There's obviously some adults won't be interested. It's not for everybody, but for those who are, the levels are set up to be inclusive for all ages. The awards will also give participants broad experiences and opportunities to fall in love with many different aspects of cross-country skiing. The awards are very holistic in that sense, and they cover a wide range of what cross-country skiing has to offer. And they'll also showcase the potential for both the individual and the sport. And so attracting people in and inspiring and motivating those within the sport. So we're going to move on now to talking a little bit more around what the awards actually are. So at the moment, there is a PDF document with all of the assessment criteria for the 9 levels of the awards. The awards provide a framework of assessment for proficiency or competency or skill level, whatever you want to call it, in cross-country skiing. So what that looks like. Said already, the awards have 9 levels, and that goes right from level 1, which is beginner, very much first time on skis, up to level 9, where a level 9 skier would be able to ski 5 kilometers on a World Cup homologulated course. So they're a very competent, skillful skier. So far, we have specific awards attached to level 1 to level 4, and we're working on developing the ones for levels 5 to 9.
The assessment criteria has actually been written for these. It just hasn't been named yet. So the assessment criteria is all there for all the levels, but there are specific named awards for levels 1 to 4, and we don't have specific named awards for level 5 to 9.
Level 1 is the taster session and first time coming along, just recognizing getting involved. Level 2 is safe to roller ski. So this is an award that we give to someone who is able to kit up, carry their equipment safely, put their skis on, move around on their skis, and we would be comfortable with them hiring equipment from a club or from a facility. Level 3 is foundation proficiency, and this is what we're expecting for a foundation coach. So it's someone who can differentiate between the different techniques in skating classic, show some balance, show some weight transfer. Level 4, development proficiency. This is what we're looking for development athletes who are looking to move into the performance pathway at sort of 12 to 16 years old. So the development section of the performance pathway. And again, this is a little bit of a step up from level 3, being able to distinguish between their different techniques and moving around very comfortably on skis and having quite good ski movement skills. Other levels will be coming soon.
So within each of these levels, there are around 20 to 30 outcomes. The next slide will have a little bit of a demonstration of what those look like. But this one we're just going to talk around the different types of outcomes. So there are 4 different types of outcomes. The outcomes have been split into 4 different categories, which are core, technical, which is skate or classic, snow, and training. For someone to get their award at any level, they have to have done all of the corresponding core and one of the skate or classic outcomes. So those are what are required. The snow and training outcomes are additional optional extras. The core outcomes are things like movement, balance, control. These are skills that you need to be able to demonstrate on your skis and that underpin all of the technical elements that you'll be building on. The technical elements are specific to skating classic technique. Snow is stuff that you can only do on snow. So a lot of it actually pertains to snow equipment. And training are outcomes that are specifically for people who are looking to be competitive. So that is development athletes, that's people wanting to go and do masters competition, but maybe also interesting for people who are training to do loppet competitions and distance competitions. And although there are specific snow outcomes, the awards aren't just restrained to roller skiing. The awards could be done on mat, on roller skis, or on snow. It's just that there are some elements that do require require snow, so they've been taken out so that if someone is doing it on roller skis on or mat, they won't be penalised for not being able to fit in those outcomes. To give a little more context, here are the first 5 outcomes of the Level 1 award. These are all core outcomes, they all look at movement, they've all got individual numbers, an outcome description, and then very specific bullet pointed criteria. There are 20 to 30 of these for all 9 levels. So that's quite a big document of different stuff with very specific criteria being included for every single outcome.
So these outcomes will be assessed by an assessor, and the assessment will be standardized through assessor training. The assessor doesn't necessarily need to be a coach for the lower levels, especially levels 1 and 2. The assessor could be a volunteer, a parent helper, a member of staff at a facility. It doesn't have to be someone who has a coaching qualification. For the higher levels, it is likely that the assessor will require a coaching qualification to be able to conduct the assessment. What the assessment looks like is that there are a list of requirements that the participant has to meet for the set outcome, and that will get ticked off by the assessor. Whether this is done as an assessment day or some sort of continual assessment will depend on what works best for the club and facility, but there is a definite distinction between teaching and learning and coaching of skiing and then the assessment. Like it is a separate thing to the course or program that an individual would engage with. The assessment criteria will be reviewed annually, and assessors will have a way of feeding back any ambiguity that they find, wording that they think should be updated, or sequencing that they don't think is correct, so that the awards can be improved year on year. And the assessment is pass or not yet achieved. It's a no-fail system, and participants can gain their outcomes cumulatively. So once someone has been assessed and they've met all their outcomes, their core outcomes, and either their skate classic or both, actually their snow or their training, they will receive a levels accomplished slip from their assessor. At the moment in time, this has got an asterisk next to it because it's not confirmed yet exactly what that's going to look like or its name. It could be a receipt or a sign off. We're not quite firmed that up yet. And then the participant could then choose to join Snowsport Scotland. They'd only have to be a supporter member to have access to this, which is £10 for the whole year. And they could upload their slip onto their Sport Lomo account and receive their Sport Lomo certificate as proof of the award. We're aiming to keep the costs of awards low to allow delivery and charge to participants to be low, which is why we're looking at a digital certificate at the moment. So moving on to have a quick look at how engaging with the awards will look for different parts of our community. So for participants, they're going to want to either get involved, have a shot at cross-country skiing, or improve their cross-country skiing. So they'll be looking for a course or a program or sessions to go along to, either at their local club or facility or through Snowsport Scotland. So once they've signed up for something, they'll head down there, improve their cross-country ski skills by having a really good time, getting involved with some coaching. At the end or throughout what they're doing, they'll be assessed and they will receive their level accomplished slip, as we're calling it for now, with their progress. And then it'll be up to them, it'll be optional whether they want to register with Snowsport Scotland and receive their Sport Lomo certificate, or if they're happy with just having their accomplishment slip. For a club and or facility, they will put forward their staff, volunteers, coaches, parent helpers, whoever they're looking to get training to become assessors, so that they have assessors associated with them. They will offer their cross-country skiing courses and programs, and that will very much depend, what those look like will very much depend on the club or facility's needs and structure. For instance, at Fife, we were finding it really difficult having beginners drop into sessions and having one or two people who would need one-to-one instruction for their first couple of sessions to get them engaged in the general club activity. So we've been running beginner blocks. So these have been like 4-week blocks, 8 hours, where we've gone through the level 1 and level 2 proficiency content to get them up to the point where they can just get involved with the club sessions on their own. And we've done it as blocks so that we've collected beginners who are interested and run the program. But that will look different and the needs will be different at different clubs and facilities. So at the end of the program, or throughout, depending how it's best to run, the club's or facility's assessor will run the assessment, and the club and facility will recognise the participants' progress and promote the participants' continued engagement and development within the sport, and promote the awards. For an assessor, they'll go through assessor training, and then they will be involved with the assessment of courses and programs. And depending on their role within the club of facility, they may or may not actually be involved with the teaching as well of the content or coaching of the content. They will encourage participants to continue developing. So, final slide before we get on to questions. This is where we're at and where we're going, our next steps with the Proficiency Awards. So this month we've been accumulating all the trials and tests. So I mentioned already the stuff that we've been doing at Fife. We've run 3 beginner blocks over this summer and autumn. We also did an 8-week block that was led by Rachel May with the Edinburgh College. And Huntley is going to be looking at using the awards with their Sunday morning training group. The next action will be getting the credentials and qualifications live on Sport Lomo so that participants will be able to upload their achievement slips and get their Sport Lomo certificate that way. In November, we have the Nordic coaching conference, and there will be an element on teaching the Nordic Proficiency Awards as part of that CPD. In December, the plan is to start looking at creating companions for club coaches and assessors, separate PDF documents, and focusing on the first 3 levels initially. Hopefully in the new year, clubs and facilities will actually be able to start running Proficiency Award courses, and the first review date for the assessment criteria is in March 2022. So thank you very much for your time. That concludes this introduction to the new Nordic Proficiency Awards. We're really excited about getting these out there and hopefully getting everyone involved with them really, really soon.